All right, where did my stars go? If reviews are so important, why are stars being taken away in the search engine results? Today on GNGF Live, we talk about the latest change by Google affecting reviews and more updates from the past month. Welcome to GNGF Live, your bi-weekly Ask the Experts about all things law firm marketing and business growth. I'm Mark Homer, author of Online Law Practice Strategies and founder of Get Noticed, Get Found. All right, let's get started today. So first of all, want to let you know where we're going to be next. We always like to kind of say, all that where we're speaking or where we're going, so you can maybe meet up with us. So we've got in October, 21st through the 22nd, I will be, and I think a couple of us actually from GNGF will be in San Diego, sunny San Diego, at Clio Cloud Conference. So that's, I think we can put a link in there too, because I think I saw they've got only about 100 tickets left for that conference. So that's usually one of the better legal conferences that we attend every year. And actually we're very excited for our friends over at Clio. They just closed about a $250 million round of funding at the beginning of September. Joe, I think that's like $1 billion in Canadian. No, actually, it's like 330 million. But but our friends from Canada, the Clio crowd there, is going to be in San Diego in October, and we'll be joining them. That same week, though, I will be flying to Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'll be speaking at the Minnesota Bar Small Firm Technology Bootcamp. And I'm going to be talking about SEO versus PPC. And also our friend Conrad Sam from Mockingbird Marketing. He's going to be speaking right after me about digital marketing as well. And we'll put a link to that event. If you are in the Minnesota or Minneapolis area, come join us at the Minnesota Bar there. So it's October 24th. That's 9 to 6 p.m. And then I'm going to jump on a plane on the 24th. Man, that is a busy week for me. I don't even know if I realized this until I typed it all out. So I'm jumping down to Dallas, Texas, and our good friend Ed Rush is putting on a great ultimate speaking event. So if you ever wanted to try to become a better speaker from a business perspective, so to be able to speak and actually kind of like monetize the speaking from maybe you're estate planning and you do a lot of seminars. I know he's got a number of lawyers in his audience, so I'm going to go down to that event, help him out, talk a little bit about how we do a lot of speaking and monetize speaking from the stage, and then also sit in the audience and learn because Ed's a great educator. Speaking of Mockingbird Marketing from Minnesota there, we are also joining Mockingbird and 3 other agencies again this year, actually next year. It's going to be in April. So for Bedlam, the Best Damn Legal Marketing Conference, Part 2. So Bedlam 2 will be in Las Vegas, April 1st through 3rd. And depending on when you're watching this, the early bird pricing is currently available as I'm speaking now. So it's early bird 2020, and we can put that in the chat as well. But it's bedlamconference.com. Come check it out. We had the first one last year. There was 5 agencies. All of us, we were out speaking a lot, whether we've written books, speaking, Facebook, social media, you see us a lot. And we basically got up and said, here's all the things going on right now that are working. Here's the things that are not working. Here's the things that people are selling you still to this day, 5 years later. Ignore it, please. That kind of information. We kind of made it a no social media session. So the stuff was like, really raw, and we called people out on kind of BS if they were doing it out in the industry. So great conference, but very different than a lot of the standard ones. All right, so that's where we're going to be in the coming months or so. On to our digital marketing updates. So the first one is that this just announced yesterday, it must have been just in time for our Facebook Live, is that the Google announced that they're going to do their September, they do about twice a year, their September core updates. So it's the Google Search Engine Algorithm Update September 2019 is the official title and name. They used to have really fun names like Pigeon and Penguin. Now we've got September 2019. But not a lot of information yet, but it's just being rolled out. I think we've found out that yesterday it started rolling out. So it usually takes a couple weeks. Really just keep an eye on your rankings and keep an eye on Twitter, Search Engine Journal, see if other people are noticing things that you may want to check up on. Or just if you're seeing anything weird, message us, give us a call. You can hit us on the Facebook page here and LinkedIn, or you can contact us from our website and reach out. Happy to, if you're seeing some weird things in your ranking, happy to take a look. In the past few updates, if you were doing things kind of like the right way that we always talk about, you probably saw bumps up, not down, but we always keep an eye on these when they come out. All right, next topic is, where are the stars going? So with our stars, we've got September 16th, I think, Google basically announced that the schema for reviews, which, let me step backwards. So the schema for reviews, we have been bouncing back and forth at GNGF on this for a while. So you can put schema on your website that talks about the reviews. And schema is what kind of sends signals to Google. It gives them information about content on your website, but is not visible typically to the end user. So it's for the search engines. And you can put schema on your website, and you should do this for a lot of things. And we've talked about that in many of our Facebook Lives. But specifically for reviews, you could kind of like say, here's my organization, it's a law firm, here's who I am. So for reviews, you can say, I got this following review and it was like 5 out of 5 stars. And you can actually put that on your website, which I think kind of goes against the spirit of the concept of reviews. So we kind of hesitated for a while to jump in. Everybody was doing it. And sure enough, we finally jumped in and said, okay, you know what? We can't give up these 5 stars showing up next to people's organic listings. We've got to do it. So we've been telling people, use your schema, add reviews on your website. Well, Google decided that, you know what, if there are reviews on a website that's like your website you own and you're reviewing yourself, they consider that self-serving. That's actually the term they use. They're deeming it self-serving, which I think is right. To be honest, it is very self-serving. So it's if you're creating reviews on your website and using schema, Google's saying, we're going to ignore it from now on. Not that we're going to penalize you, but we're just going to ignore it. So they announced that on the 16th and immediately rolled it out. So we noticed stars dropping right away. There's an article on Moz, I think, Joe, you can probably post in the descriptions there. And across the board, we've seen about 14% drop in the number of reviews, star ratings showing up on organic listings because they're ignoring these schema of kind of self-serving websites. But in legal, because we tend to do things overboard in legal search, we dropped 28%. So almost a third of the stars that were on organic listings are now gone. So, nothing you need to do. So nothing you need to do right now. Just know that, they're going to ignore the schema. If you were thinking about doing this, don't really worry about it. I will give a little commentary, though. I'm wondering what's going to happen with products and services, because you can still put reviews on those. For example, if you're Amazon selling an Amazon product and you put a lot of reviews on Amazon, is that kind of self-serving? I don't know, right? So it's interesting to see where this goes from a product perspective. But for law firms right now, we're being hit with this. It's not like it's hit. It's just kind of going back to what I think the spirit should have been anyways. Enough on that. Next, we've got Nofollow link update. So, man, Google got crazy in September here. So we've got reviews. We got a core search engine update. Excuse me. And then about a week before the review thing, they announced this little nugget about the Nofollow, which Nofollow, and we can put the actual link to the Google blog about this. So Nofollow was created, and Nofollow is on a link on a web page. You can say, follow this link and give credit for that. Or you can say, you know what, this is a link on this page that I'm not really endorsing, so I'm going to tell Google, don't follow it. And there's a rel equals nofollow tag. Well, they did that because of all the comment spam. So there was, back in the day, people were using comments across all these blogs around, and you probably still see it today because people think it still works. It doesn't, but people think it does. And so you get all this comment spam. And so everybody went onto their blog comments and said, any comment that has a link in it, make rel equals nofollow. So Google decided, well, let's add some extra stuff to that. And they used to ignore nofollow links. Then they came out and said, well, now nofollow is going to be a hint. So it's a hint to Google that we shouldn't follow this, but we still care about links. And if everything becomes nofollow, then we still need to give some credit to a website. So they've now added rel equals UGC, which is user-generated content. This is things for like blogs and forum posts. So that's what we originally had nofollow for, would be kind of nofollow rel equals UGC. And then they've also had rel equals sponsored. And this is kind of pointed straight at people that are paying to put content on a certain, maybe I'm paying and I get an article for a sponsorship to an event. And on that page, I link to my website or link to some articles I have. That webmaster should put rel equals sponsored because I kind of paid for that. It's not really a true link that they gave because they thought my content was great. It was because I kind of paid for it. So that's rel equals sponsored. A lot of debate about the fact that Google's been ignoring Nofollow for years, and they're just now coming out and talking real that they are. Like the schema, this is going to give Google more information to be able to categorize things quickly. I think that basically allows their crawlers to go faster and their algorithms to move faster. And anytime Google can get their algorithm and crawler to move faster, it saves them like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars every day because they have to power tons of servers, and it's like, one less server they have to buy, one less, thing they have to power anytime they can get more information from the webmaster. So here we are again doing Google's job by giving them a lot of information, but we're going to do it because that's what they're asking for. So just know that you may want to start looking at that. They said Nofollow is still going to be okay, and you can use rel equals Nofollow, and you can also use rel equals Nofollow and sponsored, so you can use them combined, and that's going to be very important going forward. Okay, we've got continued to, what do we got next? Control over search engine snippets. This was an interesting one. So one of the biggest requests a lot of webmasters ask is, how can I control what shows up in the search engine results for my kind of description, right? So there's the blue title information. So we know title tags influence that a lot. And then below that was what used to be your meta description tag on your website, on your web page, would show up as that description. Well, Google decided that people were kind of being spammy and gaming that. And they basically created the ability for Google to kind of look at your page and maybe take an extra sentence out and use that as the description instead of your meta description. They've been doing that for a couple of years. It's a little frustrating because you kind of work really hard on these meta descriptions to make them very good, because meta descriptions, the description underneath the title bar in a search engine, really, really influences click-through rate. So what those few sentences, or maybe like 160 something characters says, can change whether somebody clicks on your link versus somebody else's link. And so Google is now saying, well, we're going to let you actually influence what's going on in these snippets. So you can actually, in your text of your web page, you can go in and take blocks of text that you absolutely do not want on the description because it's not really describing that page the best, and you can put like no snippet around it, like some code around it. You can also say, I don't want any descriptions longer than a certain length. If you have videos, you can actually do a max video preview length, so that in the search engines you see, especially on mobile now, they'll kind of do a little quick preview of videos. You can kind of determine some things there, and then also your max image sizes for especially like product searches and image search. You can kind of say, here's the max I want Google to show in my image sizes. Then they further go on and say, here's some great information. This is all still just a hint to Google. They can do what they want. So I don't really have any guidance yet. It's fairly new, and we're still trying to figure out how it's going to impact and if we really can impact things in click-through rate. So as we learn more, stay tuned. But know that they're trying to do something that we've been asking for as webmasters for a while, which is get a better control of the descriptions in those search results. This one's interesting. We've got Thumbtack is in a deal with Nextdoor to advertise on the platform. And if you don't know Nextdoor yet, then you probably should, because it's a platform. Nextdoor is a platform that is basically kind of taking over like a local search without us local search people even thinking about it. Users are very passionate on the Nextdoor platform. It's kind of a regional neighborhood, can get together and talk about things in their neighborhood. The police are on it, so they will often update, if there's like a road closures or some kind of like, armed robbery in the area, keep an eye out for somebody. So the police are using it, the fire are using it, neighbors are using it, and it's a heavy referral base. People constantly. So I follow Nextdoor, in my neighborhood, and it's does anybody know a carpenter? Does anybody know a plumber? Does anybody know where I can take my dog to get groomed? I mean, that kind of information. And then people go on and like refer people all the time. Well, in that platform, people can advertise a little bit, but it's kind of hard to do direct sales and get a lot of small, medium businesses when you're building out a platform, which could rival Facebook in terms of a local search perspective for social media. So they've partnered with Thumbtack now. So Thumbtack is, if you haven't used Thumbtack yet, that's another one that we have mentioned for now a couple of years, that if it shows up in the search results for your type of business, so whether it's a personal injury firm or a DUI firm, whatever, if Thumbtack is showing up in the first maybe 10, 15 listings, then you probably should be on Thumbtack. So these are two kind of powerhouses that maybe didn't even exist really a few years ago, that we didn't even care about. People don't talk about it a lot. So if you could get into this Nextdoor game and the Thumbtack game now, you're going to really beat a lot of people to it. When you're on Thumbtack, you got to be ready though. Like it's people request stuff and you need to be able to reply, get text messages right away to your phone, and so you can have your office and your intake system set up really well. But you should be looking at this, and in a lot of markets, you can get on Thumbtack. Thumbtack will very soon be integrating with Nextdoor, so your law firm could show up when anybody's talking about legal advice in Nextdoor. So really nice platform that isn't Google, isn't Facebook, isn't one of these things that we talk about all the time that people should be looking at. Thumbtack is also working with Google Local Service Ads, which is a nice transition. Like that, Joe, is a good transition. So local service ads are being tested in the legal industry. Finally, we've been waiting for this. So local service ads have been in for other kind of like more home service professionals. So, plumbers and HVAC people and stuff like that. But local service ads are certified by Google. So Google is going to actually vet the business owner. Excuse me. Google is going to actually vet the business owner, going to make sure this business, is legit, is registered with local, laws and local county. So all that information, and then if you do that, you can pay to be above every other paid advertisement. Yeah, I said that right. Every other paid advertisement, you get to be above Google search. So, like all your normal paid ads, which are cost per click, then you've got these 3 or 4 local service ads. You could have your law firm there soon because they're out and being in testing right now. Currently, estate planning lawyers and immigration lawyers, why those two, we're not sure. I think we've talked about this before, that was where they had started. But they are testing it, and we're seeing it in a few more cities. So we're keeping an eye on it because we've got a lot of clients who would love to do this. You're going to have to do some things like, let's see, we can get a link to the requirements, I think. I have it in here. So we can give you a link to the requirements, but if you're like an estate planning attorney, you're going to have to go through a business check, an owner check, make sure your professional licensing. They want to probably do make sure your state bar. I'm sure they want to make sure your actual lawyers are using this. I think they're going to, depending on the practice area, each lawyer in the firm has to kind of get validated. So you have to jump through some hoops, but you're paying per lead and not per click, which is a very different model for a lot of the Google ads. So very interesting. We've heard great success from kind of like the home services world. I've got a lot of colleagues in digital marketing agencies from home services, and they're having great success with home services, with Google local service ads. So we're excited to see it come into legal, and we'll see how it goes. So stay tuned on that. But that's going to be a great one. So that's what we got for today. So in about what we got, last 15, 20 minutes here, if I gave you a few ideas to grow your law firm, then imagine what 30 to 45 minutes could be with us. So feel free to jump on the phone, jump on to GNGF.com/speak, I think. So GNGF.com/speak, and you can speak to one of our marketing consultants about any of these topics or any other marketing questions you have, and we're happy to help. All right. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next Facebook Live.